I never imagined our marriage would come apart in such a small, brutal instant. It didn't happen because of a fight, a confession, or a suspicious message. It happened on a Thursday evening as the sun dipped behind the skyline. I was walking home from work when I passed a tiny cafe and stopped dead. Through the window, I saw Emily, smiling in a way I hadn't seen for months. But that smile wasn't meant for me. It was for him, a tall man, likely in his early 40s, leaning toward her as if the rest of the world didn't exist. Then the thing that cleaved me happened. Emily reached out and brushed his hand. When he rose to embrace her, she folded into his arms the same way she once folded into mine. The air left my lungs. My chest tightened until it felt like it would collapse. I didn't burst through the door. I didn't make a scene. I simply turned and walked away, my legs carrying me while my heart broke with every step. I remember thinking, that's it. Our marriage is over. By the time I got home, my hands were shaking. I sat on the couch and stared at our wedding portrait on the wall, Emily laughing, eyes bright with promise. The woman in the cafe looked like she'd already handed those promises to someone else. When she returned that night, I couldn't bring myself to confront her. She kissed my cheek, asked about my day, moved through the house as if nothing had happened. I answered with clipped replies while the image of her in that man's arms replayed in my head. Over the next days, I pulled away, avoiding her touch, refusing her looks, letting silence sit between us. At night, when she reached for me, I pretended to be asleep. At dinner, I let quiet stretch on. Inside, I was shouting, why Emily? Why him? Why not me anymore? A week later, I reached my limit. I packed a single bag, left a note on the kitchen counter, I saw you. I can't do this anymore, and walked out. I didn't care where I went. I just knew I couldn't stay. The first night away blurred together. I checked into a cheap hotel and stared at the ceiling until dawn. My phone filled with calls and messages from Emily. I ignored them all. What could she possibly say? She had chosen someone else. Emily didn't give up. The following evening, just as I was about to step out to clear my head, someone knocked on my door. I opened it to find her there. No makeup, eyes swollen from crying, clutching the crumpled note I'd left. You saw me, she whispered, voice breaking. And you think it was what it looked like? I turned my face away. Emily, I don't want explanations. I saw enough. Still, she came in and shut the door behind her. Please, just listen, she begged. That man, he's not what you think. His name is Daniel. He's my brother's best friend. He's been helping me with something I couldn't tell you. I managed a bitter laugh. Helping you by holding you like that, by making you smile the way I haven't seen in years? Her tears started again. I was smiling because, for the first time in weeks, I felt hope, she said. Daniel's a therapist. I went to him because I couldn't bring myself to talk to you about how I've been feeling about us. I stopped. A therapist? I repeated. Yes, she whispered. I'd been terrified, James. I felt you slipping away. I thought you didn't want me anymore. I wanted to fix things before I lost you. She told me the hug wasn't romantic. It was a comfort, the kind you give when you finally admit you're afraid you're failing. Her words landed like thunder. I had been so convinced of betrayal, so consumed by the sight of that embrace, that I hadn't even considered another explanation. Why didn't you tell me? I asked, voice breaking. Because you've been so distant, she answered. You turned away every night. You grew quieter every day. I thought I was the problem. I thought you didn't love me anymore. The truth hit hard. I'd been hurting because of what I believed I'd seen, but in my silence and withdrawal, I had been wounding her too. We sat on the edge of the bed, both raw, both wounded in ways we'd never voiced. She took my hand, trembling. James, I don't want anyone else. Not now, not ever. I want us, but we can't keep pretending everything is fine. We need help. For the first time in weeks, I looked at her. Not the woman I'd seen in another man's arms, but the woman who had once vowed forever. In her eyes, I saw fear, love, and a fragile hope that it wasn't too late. I thought it was over, I admitted. I thought you had already chosen someone else, she whispered back. But maybe this is our chance to choose each other again. What followed was anything but neat. The next days were raw and messy. We started counseling together. We had long, tear-filled conversations that left us exhausted but oddly lighter. We confronted the truths we had both avoided. I learned that marriages can be broken not only by affairs but by silence, distance, and the walls we habitually build around our hearts. Slowly and painfully, we began to find our way back. I'll never forget that night she came after me and refused to let me walk away believing a lie. I had thought the cafe window showed the end of us, but it turned out to be the beginning of a reckoning we desperately needed. Our marriage didn't end that day. In some crucial way, it began again. Sometimes it takes nearly losing everything to wake you up to what matters most.